No, Kuz came to me yesterday at practice and told me what was going on, and that was it. I really don't really care for someone's trainer or whatever the case may be. And everyone can have their own opinion, and anytime someone wants to get some notoriety, they can throw my name in and people are gonna pick it up, and that's why you asked me about it. Because my name was in it. So. I've never met the guy. I don't know the guy. I don't care less about the guy. Whatever the case may be. So I wish him the best.
Thanks, everyone. 86.
If you're a Los Angeles fan, then last night was a very magical night for you. It was the very first time in about 10 years since Los Angeles was able to advance to the NBA Finals. And given what's been going on with the pandemic thus far, given what happened in mid-January, literally 8 months ago, it was a very magical moment and a remarkable moment for all Los Angeles fans. Well, at least for Los Angeles Laker fans, because meanwhile, it appears as though the Los Angeles Clippers are beginning to unravel more and more throughout the offseason. So, what's going on, guys? Before we get to the content, I just want to make sure you guys are entered into my PS5 giveaway, because we're going to announce a winner within the next week. Furthermore, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on my notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Today I have a very familiar narrative for you guys because it's gonna be like terrifying how familiar this story is going to sound to you. So if you guys remember, to give you some context to this entire story and to draw some parallels here, back in December of 2019, about 9 months ago, Kyle Kuzma's trainer took to Instagram to pretty much take some shots at LeBron James. And in these comments, he said, "I'm watching Kawhi highlights from yesterday. Nobody wants to speak on how sharp his skill set is compared to LeBron's. It's clear who's really in the lab and who isn't. Let me hear the excuses. I'm on vacation. I got nothing but time." And obviously this made things a little uncomfortable because Kyle Kuzma would also go out and tweet, "Call a spade," and this resulted in a little bit of drama. But of course, LeBron kind of proved his abilities as a leader when he was able to respond to Kyle Kuzma's social media activity with this interview.
Kuz came to me yesterday at practice and told me what was going on, and that was it. I really don't really care for someone's trainer or whatever the case may be. And everyone can have their own opinion, and anytime someone wants to get some notoriety, they can throw my name in and people are gonna pick it up, and that's why you asked me about it. Because my name was in it. So. I've never met the guy. I don't know the guy. I don't care less about the guy. Whatever the case may be. So I wish him the best.
Thanks, everyone. 86.
And it pretty much seemed like they moved past it. You know, Kuzma said that there was no correlation between call a spade and what his trainer said in regards to LeBron. And Kuzma also specified that he can't control what his trainer says. And it seems like they moved on from it, and their relationship got even healthier as a result of it. Because again, the Lakers are in the NBA Finals, and I feel like a huge reason why is because of the chemistry that they've exhibited over the course of a very tumultuous season. So it's pretty ironic because the Clippers are pretty much dealing with an inverse situation, because instead of a role player's trainer calling out the leader of the team's trainer is calling out his sidekick and probably the second option on the team and a role player on the team. And that's Kawhi Leonard's trainer, Clint Parks, who took to Twitter to take some shots at Montrezl Harrell and Paul George. Now, it's very important that you understand the context of the situation. The Los Angeles Clippers were up 3-1 in a series versus the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets came back from a 3-1 lead and were able to beat the Los Angeles Clippers. despite the Clippers being heavily favored. And in the midst of all of this, you saw some of the chemistry issues that the Clippers had slip through the cracks. You saw Paul George and Montrezl Harrell argue with one another, and we all know Montrezl Harrell's very outspoken. And all in all, the issues that the Clippers had could all be summed up due to lack of chemistry. That's what the superstars said, and that's even what the role players said, that they just needed more time with each other.
What changes to the roster would you like to see?
None. First year together, you can't even say we want to change our roster. We like what we got. I mean, we've been saying it all year. It's just chemistry, being together.
Hey, Lou, the tough loss, man. How much do you think the lack of continuity throughout the season impacted the team to this point? Doc was mentioning that Denver had kind of been together for years and they kind of knew what each other was going to do. How do you feel about that with the Clipper team that just was tough getting continuity through the whole regular season and then obviously through the playoffs?
Yeah, we knew that. We understood this was going to take some time. I think a lot of the issues that we ran into, talent bailed us out. Chemistry didn't, and this series it failed us. And so, this is our first year together. We're a highly talented group, and we came up short. Chemistry is something that you got to build. You build it over time. I thought we were moving in the right direction at the end of the year before, the COVID thing happened.
But Clint Parks thinks of it as a little differently. Kawhi Leonard's trainer went out and quoted a tweet that was tweeted at him that starts out with a fan saying, "I'm sure the Clippers wish that they had Dwight Howard," at Clint Parks. Clint Parks quotes this tweet and says, "Yeah, I wish that they had him instead of that double agent Trez," referring to Montrezl Harrell. Now, don't get it twisted. It's not like he's only taking Montrezl Harrell's side over Paul George in this little rivalry they have together, because 11 days prior, he tweeted out about Paul George's basketball IQ, saying PG basketball IQ is questionable, man. So now what's baffling about this is literally in the middle of last night, a fan tweeted at Kawhi Leonard's trainer in regards to LeBron James, apparently, saying, "Clint, respect that man's game, and we are not the Clippers." Clint responded by quoting the tweet saying, "That's fine. I'm still taking Kawhi over him every day of the week." And then, to even further clarify, a fan also said, "Precisely, Clint, you agree that LeBron is the best player alive too?" He quoted this tweet and he said, "Nope." So there's more backstory to this, because Clint Parks historically has been a huge fan of Kawhi Leonard's work ethic. He even went on in an interview with Clutch Points saying that, "I could honestly say since when I first met him when he was 14 years old, he always liked to work hard. Nothing has changed over all these years, and the success he's had, he still works like he's trying to make the team every year. He's never going to get content. He came back from an injury and still won the NBA championship last year." It remains to be seen how Paul George and Montrezl Harrell are going to respond to this. Obviously, this is not the environment that you want to create, especially considering the fact that the Clippers have multiple free agents this offseason. Primarily, they have Joakim Noah that they signed in the middle of the season. They have Reggie Jackson, Patrick Patterson, JaMychal Green, and Montrezl Harrell all hitting free agency. And I think quite possibly the most important player that's going to hit free agency is Marcus Morris for them, because they gave up a first-round pick for Marcus Morris, an unprotected first-round pick that might prove to be very valuable. It would suck if Marcus Morris just got up and left as a result and they just gave up a first-round pick for him. But even more importantly, you have to admit that Montrezl Harrell is a very important part of their team. You're talking about the 6th man of the year over here, and he's on a bench with another 3-time 6th man player of the year, and quite possibly the greatest bench player in NBA history in Lou Williams. So you don't want to cultivate this culture where potentially you see some of your most important players leave, especially because the clear reason why you didn't succeed is because there was a complete lack of continuity between the entire roster this season. I said this over and over again, and I'll keep saying it, and this is as a Laker fan. I do think the Clippers have a better team. It's just that the Lakers have significantly more chemistry, and that's because you don't have situations where one of the star players for the Lakers didn't play for a handful of games this year. Then on top of that, you don't have one of the role players on the Lakers getting up and going to a strip club in the middle of a pandemic. You know, and there's a bunch of other stuff that you could point the finger towards. What I'm trying to say is it would be a shame if a toxic culture alienated some of these players, and as a result, we can't ever see the Clippers fulfill their truest potential. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about Kawhi's trainer's comments? Do you agree with them? Do you think he's just making the situation more toxic? Is he adding fuel to the fire? I'd like to hear your opinion in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy, TheFlightMike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.